I blame the keto diet as to the reason as to why I got fat during the COVID pandemic. Because I still remember I'd gone to a friend's house and there was a 10-kilo jar of ghee, which I have never ever seen before. So, because my mom has always been very fat conscious. She came from the time when margarine was a thing. So we've never had more than like 100-gram jar of ghee in our house. So 10 kilos was like a bit of a fat shock for me. And anyway, so I asked her, I said, what on earth are you doing? And she said, no, this friend of mine is extremely obese. 110 kilos. Her BMI is almost, I think now 29 or 30. And she had started the keto diet under supervision. So she started to tell me about it. She said, it's the best diet ever. You can just eat cheese and bacon and pork and beef. And it's so much of fun. Okay, I shouldn't have said beef, but you can eat it technically. It's not wrong. And so she was, very, very happy with it. She was losing weight with it. She said that, she's going to, it's helping control her diabetes as well. So I said, great, and this was the COVID pandemic time when, a little bit of movement had been allowed. Um, and so I said, I want to do this because I'd put on some kilos since I wasn't able to move around much. And so I went back home and thing, I'm putting ghee on everything. I thought my mother is crazy, anyways, blame your mom for half of the things in life. And so I started putting ghee, butter, cheese. Um, then I read somewhere that you have to incorporate healthy fats. So I said, okay, healthy fats. So I'm having avocados, I'm asking a friend to go all the way to, Khan Market, which is in Delhi, which is quite far from, where I was at the time, and get me ripe avocados. And then I'm having nuts and I'm having, all these exotic oils, grapeseed oil and rapeseed oil or canola oil. And, and I'm like, great, I should be losing weight. And I thought I was losing weight because for whatever reason, I was still fitting into my jeans. But I said, okay. And then next thing I'm not fitting into my jeans. And there was this period between where I wasn't really paying much attention to the weighing scale, and I was wearing a lot of dresses. So it just naturally sort of fitting, and my waist was getting bigger, but I wasn't really noticing. And then I realized that I put on 5 kilos, and it made absolutely no sense to me. And this was at a time, during the COVID pandemic, and keto had just started off. So I couldn't understand what I was doing wrong at all. But then I began to Google around and I found that one of the things is fat has a lot of calories. And obviously, I wasn't calorie counting, I was fat counting. So I was just making sure there's enough fat in every meal. And in fact, I'm horrified. I am actually horrified. If I'm supposed to be on a 1200 calorie diet, 1 teaspoon of this healthy olive oil I was putting was 40 calories. And who gets away with 1 teaspoon on your bread? I don't. I would have put 4 or 5 happily. And I was putting butter and I'm horrified by the amount of calories in cheese. It says 10 grams of cheese was 40 calories and 8 grams is like the size of my thumb. You're not going to put that little onto your bread or onto your eggs at the time. And it was something that really left me with uncertainty about the idea of fat. I am still not sure if fat is a villain, if fat is necessary, and if fat actually helps me lose weight. And so that's why I thought we should do an episode on what goes wrong when we do keto diets, because I do know a lot of people doing keto diets. I do know there is an endless variety of order at home keto diet meal plans and meals, and everywhere you go now there's a keto menu with keto overnight oats and keto protein shakes and keto everything. But I don't know if one should be doing this unsupervised because it didn't work out well for me. So we have with us today Rahul Kamra, who is a keto coach and the founder of Ketorets. And he's served over 1,000 clients in more than 27 countries. So I'm guessing he's going to know what I did wrong with keto. So hi, Rahul.
Hi.
Thank you so much for coming today. Thank you.
The keyword was overnight oats, which you mentioned when it is the keto menu. Yep. So, slight myth busting about ketogenic diet.
Yeah.
It is not fat obsession. It is also a metabolic state shift, which you do. There is nothing wrong to experience gain when you eat more fats with some carbohydrates. And calorie deficit is the first baseline to anybody who's losing fat, be it keto, be it low carb, be it vegan, be it paleo, be it any kind of diet you talk about. And there are certainly a lot of people, those who have experienced good benefits with keto, but they have completely reversed it. And this is something which we will be diving deep into, not only just to educate people about ketogenic diet, but to tell them that this is not your cup of tea if these things are happening to you. And it's not for everybody to adapt to ketosis. We definitely approach it from a fat loss perspective. We need to approach it from a metabolic therapy. And we need to also see whether what benefits can we make in the diet and the routine which we are going to be following.
So, Rahul, if I could just start with going back to, say, the 80s or the 90s,
Mm,
when fat was the devil. We had Atkins and, you had
mm,
go fat diets happening. Fat and
mm,
carbs were the bad things,
mm,
and we wouldn't touch them. And suddenly shift to now everything is about fat, healthy
mm,
carbs. I mean, there's been such a change in how we are looking at nutrition.
mm.
It does get so confusing and overwhelming. Do you notice that in people who come to you that they're just sometimes just overwhelmed by the amount of information? Like, is this good? Is this bad? Is this right? Is this wrong?
There are people, there's a reason behind this. Whenever you cannot sell something with logic, you start confusing people. That's what every industry has done, be it the nutrition industry, be it the supplement industry, be it the cosmetic industry as well. You confuse people by overloading information. And in 70s, when Dr. Robert Atkins made the Atkins diet, it was inspired by a ketogenic diet and he wanted to make something which is more doable. But in 80s and 90s, the reason why we were also cutting out fats because fats has more calories. And our population grew over a period of time and it multiplied. So to feed so many people, you look at the food groups which you have. Now, the problem is not about you skipping fats when you're on a low carbohydrate diet. The question is, what is your intention of eating these fats? Are you eating them for satiety? Are you eating them with, let's say, zero carbohydrate routine, which could help you to get into ketosis eventually? So, the more you confuse people, the better you can sell the products. And that's what happened with all of us.
And ketosis is a natural body biological process because I remember, one naysayer coming to me and saying that, no, it's unnatural. It changes your metabolism and then you're never going to go back to being normal again. So could you educate us a bit about this metabolic system?
So, apart from studies, researches which support that how we are born in ketosis as a metabolic state, because we also have a time period when we are born. So the mother feels that labor pain, the delivery happens. Nobody's coming there and asking you what's brunch today. Yeah. The body knows how to burn existing fat and dietary fat. When you deliberately push it into ketosis, that's called nutritional ketosis. In the country today, we are sorting out unemployment. Some of us are sorting out appraisals, in fact. We don't talk about ketogenesis as a formal education process altogether. We don't have a degree which says, okay, this is BSc in ketogenesis. There are only a limited number of courses. There are people those who are discovering more about ketogenic diet. They don't want to call it keto, they want to call it metabolic therapy. They want to make sure that they cover it up. I've seen, I stay in Mumbai, I've seen people selling keto ragi dosa as well. Ragi is definitely not keto. Quite a lot of source of carbohydrates would be here. So when you cut out glucose and your body starts turning existing fat and dietary fat into free radicals or fatty acids, it converts it into ketones. And as per the calculations of Krebs cycle, the Krebs cycle calculation talks about energy production in the body. Even if you talk about the last cycle, your body produces 19 or 21 ATP. For a layman to understand, glucose produces 14, ketones produces more, but the adaptation to a ketogenic diet has to be with a vision. If it is just for fat loss, yes, you may experience fat loss. If it is just for taking care of your blood work in terms of how you are pre-diabetic, or you have cholesterol issues, or you have hypertension, or you have dementia, or there are cases where I have seen people improving their hormonal health. There are also studies which support that. But with all the studies being aside, you need to choose whether is this for you or not. And as I mentioned, the industry wants to confuse you. They're happily confusing you. The recent confusion is about your gut health. COVID, it was mental health. Then came gut health. Now it is fake protein shakes. Then it would come to supplementation. Then it was also for a while with hydroponic farming and organic food and things and everything. The more we start focusing on smaller points, you definitely educate a certain set of audience, but you confuse a certain different set of audience. Back in the school days, why did we have different subjects? You can't be learning history with mathematics, right? You get confused. So, confusion creates a room for people to get some guidance. Now, there are a lot of coaches, nutritionists, doctors, those who do not support ketogenesis. Fair enough, because people have not had great experiences. There are also people, those who have been under my professional guidance, those who have seen that what mistakes were they doing before, what they're doing today. And despite doing everything right, they haven't changed their identity when it is in relation to fat loss. Now, there is a, I can say that if there are 50 shades of gray, a ketogenic diet can have 150 shades of gray, which can be what you're doing right now may not be ketosis. What you're eating right now may not be keto compliant. There is a set of strips which everybody gets called as keto diet sticks, which is on Amazon as well. And a lot of these brands keep it. It's by a single brand which sells it in India. You dip it with your first urine sample and you get to know you're on ketosis, and not a lot of people are not even aware about it when they adapt to ketogenic diet. Now, talking from a bird's eye perspective, the nutrition industry wants us to be confused. And congratulations, achievement unlocked. We all are confused with what to do,
Yes.
how much fats to eat, how much carbs to eat, and we make life more complicated. We are fixing things which are not even broken.
Yeah. In fact, I must tell you this that I've been ordering this keto khichdi, which I will not name the app which has it, but they have it. And it's been amazing. Like I thought, I mean, I wasn't doing it so much for keto as I just wanted to eat khichdi, and I thought, okay, something with low carb and so on. And I had this really strong smell of ghee. And I said, okay, well, must be ghee and so on. And then just recently, which is very, very recently, in fact, 2 days ago, I got to know I'm diabetic. I had the flu when I went into the office and I'm to the doctor's clinic, and my blood sugar was 210. I'm very happy to admit it. But that's when I started to look up the nutritional content. So I went to the website, and over there they have the ingredients mentioned. That khichdi had hydrogenated vegetable oil, or basically dalda, and ghee essence, which is something I have never heard about. So, these sort of tricks just, I mean, it really reduces your faith in what's in the market.
It is also because of one simple reason: people expect that healthy is always expensive. There are brands those who are happily making profits out of it. They definitely want to, which is fair enough at their point. But then the packaging matters more. Okay. You buy something which is ultra luxury, you would have a very different package in an experience. You literally pay for an experience more than you pay for a product. Same thing with the fitness industry is when it comes to healthy food, we tag them healthy or healthier than something else. And when you see the back, let's say the ingredients itself, they have to mention it very clearly. Some of them may not even do that. So labels is a major problem at the moment. But if you say that, okay, what this brand is doing, this brand is definitely minting good amount of money and
Yeah.
knows how to package their products. I
Is how to hide the information as well.
Most of the people definitely do this. If you talk about FMCG, if you talk about FNB, all these industries,
I wonder if they hire a designer just to hide the content somewhere.
would be one thing is that yes, they're hiding it out. The second thing is that now you have discovered after going on their website, it is very important for anybody to read the label. At this point of time, if you ask me, there are very selective brands in India which serve keto compliant food or which serve food with which is diabetic compliant. And most of them also have ingredients which are very, very, you can say, questionable. You would not want to put that in your body in the name of saying healthy. So we get excited that we want keto cookies, keto chips. The question is that if this is what you wanted to do and you wanted to open up packets, then it's better to be on a low carb diet. And some days, maybe let's say, just open a packet of kurkure. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the question, the balance is that where exactly the intention is. The other perspective, which I would say when it comes to food ordering, psychologically, it feels very relieving for somebody who is stressed with their typical 9 to 9 job or their work culture as well. I have 16 days of work. I don't want to, at the end of the day, get in the kitchen, spare out 40 minutes to prepare a meal, then eat that meal. I would love to order at times. And which is fair enough because the kind of culture which we have. We are stuck in traffic. We are obviously going to office. We have things and everything to do. The psychological aspect here is that you're simply giving all your accountability, all your assessment tools to somebody who's going to deliver food to you.
Mm.
Now, when you trust someone, you have to check how did they get into this industry? Where are they procuring their ingredients from? And what is their intention? At times, to find an intention of somebody, you may just maybe check out their social media pages, websites, but all that glitters is not gold.
No.
You would have to check your blood work and see if that's affecting you in any way or what your eventual goals are. So it's good to order, but at the same time, if for anybody who is struggling to lose fat, if you're trying to order every now and then, and if you're not able to spare enough time, it's always better that you check it. In the first place, don't even do that.
Yeah. So I'd really like to know a little bit about your experience with clients and the things that they've done wrong.
Mm.
But before we get there, I did ask people around me about some doubts that they might have on keto. And one of the big things was the debate on alcohol. Are
Mm.
you allowed any kind of alcohol during a keto diet?
60 to 90 ml gin, vodka, single malt whiskey with water or either Diet Coke, a glass of red wine and white wine is going to be helpful for you to stay on the diet. When I say it's going to be helpful for you to stay on the diet,
Right.
from the keto perspective, yes, alcohol is what the body is going to prioritize before it produces
Very
keto.
surprised you said that, by the way.
There are two reasons behind it. One is yes, it is going to affect your fat loss journey to a certain extent. Body is going to prioritize alcohol, and it is not going to focus on ketone production. It will not get you out of ketosis. No matter you may look at the carbs. Obviously, you cannot have beer because beer is equal to beer belly. Okay, you can't have breathers and you can't have more. Uh, you know, the normal menu which you see with a lot of mixed drinks, and you find them with so much of sugar and stuff and everything added. But this brings the doability of the diet to a practical perspective. There are people those who feel socially awkward and isolated, and the problem is if I tell them not to have this, they would stop it for a week or two. After 3 weeks, they would get into this restrictive mindset, which is more deadly than them being consuming, let's say, 60 ml of vodka on a Saturday evening and saying cheers to their friends, right?
Yeah.
So I personally, when you mentioned about my clients, I call them Ketorets members because they keep connecting with me every now and then. It's like a community altogether. I focus on not only just person adapting to ketosis, 100%. They should not be consuming alcohol. They should not be including it, be it whatever time it is. Okay. And I don't do that myself. I've been on keto for the last 7 years of my life. However, if somebody who is struggling not only just with their fat loss, who has a social event and they want to step out, they want to pour a drink for themselves. They need to be smart enough. You take a 30 or 45 ml vodka with, you can say Sprite Zero, which is also new in the market, or you can just put some water, ice, and you keep sipping on it and you keep socializing. Focus on socializing, not the drinks. Focus on managing the entire scenario altogether and not getting under peer pressure. It's just like you go to a vegetarian and you tell the vegetarian, would you have chicken? That person will never, right? It's a non-negotiable for them. You go to somebody who's a teetotaler who just simply wants to, who's happy with the black coffee on a fine Tuesday afternoon. That person may not consume alcohol because they have never done that. Similarly, it's your personality and your identity that peer pressure comes up to. You definitely listen to everybody around, but if you can't manage it and you say no, and that makes you feel you're restricted, then you're back to square one. Then you are giving up and you go away from the point of concern that you wanted to be on a diet. You wanted to make it sustainable, doable, and you were not able to do that anymore because you were restricting yourself way, way, way too much. And eventually ended up you giving up one fine day just because you were not able to have vodka this Saturday. You took your weekends too seriously.
Yeah, burning out is a real danger.
Yeah.
There was also some doubts about condiments. Your ketchups and your barbecue sauces and your teriyaki sauces. It's not something we're actively thinking about. So it's very easy to go and get some mustard or, you just put it all over. And like, say, a sriracha sauce, technically the back it says 0 calories, but it does have sugar added in the ingredients list. So, how careful do you need to be with your condiments when you are on a keto?
Maximum 2 teaspoons of any low carb sauce is good. Ketchup, absolutely a no-no. There are keto ketchups in the market. They don't even taste like same. I would love that ketchup, which is not made with tomatoes. Okay. And which everybody knows, which is not made with tomatoes. It's red pumpkin.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the condiments, if you can make it at home, if you can use one tomato, you can use half a onion and you can add some, you can add some peppercorns, bay leaf. You can make a arrabbiata sauce at home. It's much, much better. But I'm talking about an economy like where I've worked with 27 countries. I'm talking about India specifically, where people would either use a tomato puree because they don't have the patience of, blanching a tomato, peeling it off, making it into a puree, right? So tomato puree also has sugar. Now, these condiments, if they are from a low carb brand, there are brands which definitely make it, but they would add something to definitely let them survive. If you can make it at home, good enough. If you can't make it at home and you're eating veg mayo, and there's nothing vegetarian about mayo, because the ideal recipe is olive oil and egg yolks with some mustard paste and some, emulsifiers along with that, which you make it at. And I, being a hotelier myself, I have done that back in my college days. So there are times when people want to make these condiments at home. Good enough if you're doing it. If you're eating it from outside, why do you need them? If it is to go with your meal and if it has a lot of sugar and that is putting out of ketosis, stop it right away. If that's a low carb sauce, which you're taking a mint mayo and you call it the vegetarian mayo and you're taking 2 tablespoons with your meal once or twice in a week and that keeps you sustainable, please go ahead with it because you're anyway skipping all the bad fats, you're skipping all the bad ingredients. It is okay to have a balance. And again, which is the Pareto's principle, 80-20, 20% efforts will give you 80% results and 80% things will give you 20% results. So if your majority of the diet is absolutely set, it's okay for you to have it. But I would still say, if you're vigilant enough, please stop it right away.
So we now have high fructose corn syrup coming up much more than what it used to in a lot of package items. And so I've come across a couple where it's labeled as low carb, but it does have high fructose corn syrup in it. Um, Maybe a small amount or whatever, but it does affect your metabolism, doesn't it? To have these, well, high fructose corn syrup is particularly dangerous, but even these sugar alcohols and sugar substitutes, not the natural ones, but say jaggery, I guess. I guess I'm sure it's not allowed on keto, but a lot of the sugar substitutes that are there in the market Are they advisable at all in ketosis? And what happens to your body if you then start having them? Like, say, I have something with corn syrup in it. Does it stop ketosis? How badly does it set?
You get out of ketosis. You take 5 to 7 days to get back. You see your water weight increasing because if you're obsessed about fat loss, you step on the scale every day. The only step up which you do, not only just in the gym, is also stepping up on your scale. Yeah.
Yeah.
And now the problem is not about you eating 5 laddus a day. Please eat it. No problem at all. If you're not on ketosis and if that doesn't affect your blood sugar and you don't become diabetic. The key word is insulin resistance. Your insulin spikes every time, even if you're just eating protein and fats as well, but it does a considerable spike, not as high as what it happens because of glucose.
Mm.
While a person who's on ketosis, if they eat randomly, they eat something which is with high fructose corn syrup, or they eat something which is straight sugar, they add jaggery to their meals thinking that this is not sugar, this is keto, they would be out of ketosis. They're certainly not checking their keto meters whether they are on ketosis or not. Body kills ketones right away because it sees a glucose spike and it knows that, okay, I don't need ketones anymore. So it wastes it out. And for keto alternatives, there is monk fruit sweetener, there is stevia, erythritol. Now, the debate again comes back with, is Coke better or Diet Coke better, which has been the new trend. I, as a person, would say that this again falls in the shade of gray. If that aspartame intake, which is one can once a week, makes you stick to your diet, please keep continuing it so that you can sustain it. But if that normal Coke does not increase anything in your body, you do not gain weight, you do not become diabetic, please have 5 cans a day. Nobody's stopping you from that. Okay. However, if you ask me personally, at Ketorets, I even have a cap limit to the Diet Coke they are consuming. And I would not personally get into these sweeteners. The reason being, they work exactly the same how sugar does, and it's all a game of dopamine.
Mm.
Whenever I have that dopamine rush, I would feel really good. And it is after you have a Diet Coke and you're like, oh, nice, crisp taste. I feel the
Yeah.
crisp taste. Yeah.
And you're
The crisp, the crispiness has no upper limit to it, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So once you get into this, while you're on a ketogenic diet, you had one can on a fine day, you would want to have it again. You would crave for it every single day. You would go up to 2 to 3 cans as well. You're not dying because of aspartame. Okay. If that's the case, then let's start focusing on microplastics. Let's start focusing on the environment.
Yeah.
Let's start getting some, air purifiers if you want to be Blan Johnson, yeah. Okay. But if you're a person who's been trying to focus on your current routine, alternatives which are safe enough is stevia. Stevia leaf extract is safe. Stevia leaves are not still US FDA approved. And there are also options like monk fruit sweetener, there's erythritol, which is a chemical. These are options which you can use. You can use xylitol, maltitol. So if you're chewing on a gum like Orbit, which is sugar-free, it is for the massy market. Nobody looks at it from a sugar-free perspective. They have xylitol. All of these have effects in your day-to-day life. Now, skipping these may not be an option for all of us, but at the same time, if this is what you rely on and it helps you to stick to your goals, why not do it?
Yeah.
Why get more confused? Why complicate things and say that, okay, I want to live that sustainable lifestyle in the name of skipping all these, Yeah.
Yeah, you can't become that disciplined very quickly. Um, I am now very, very keen to hear your stories. With all the clients that you've met,
Mm.
are there some very, very key mistakes that people are making with keto, which you feel people should know about?
So I stumbled upon keto in 2017 after I tried bodybuilding steroids and I was misguided by somebody who is in the fitness industry. I would not call it misguidance. He or she was guiding me. I was not understanding what their intentions were. In the last, so you can say 6 years of my professional experience, 6.5 years to be precise, and 1,000 plus people, which has surpassed 1,200 plus people, have compiled a few list of things which are also psychological. And you must have also realized that I look at from the sustainability standpoint more than I look at from the keto police standpoint. What is keto police? Somebody who starts scolding people. This is not keto.
Yeah.
Okay. So the first And the most important thing which I would say, which people make mistakes, is not deepening their why. Why do you want to adapt to ketosis? Why do you want to lose fat? I understand as compared to a low carb diet, this is a metabolic state. You have a boundary which is already set. You can't be getting in and out of ketosis. It makes you feel much more disciplined. But knowing your why do you want to adapt to ketosis? Is it for managing your diabetes? Is it for your current situation in your hormonal structure? Is it for just fat loss? Is it just, let's say, inch loss and fat loss and becoming better? Knowing your why is very, very important. And this has to be deepened as much as you can because there are going to be weeks and days, be it any kind of diet, be it on a ketogenic diet, you'll be stagnated. And that's where the question comes down to why did you start this? Yeah. So when we have our professional expertise into anything, which we do, we don't one fine day stand up in office and say that, why the hell am I working here? The day when you do that, you want to be out of there. Same thing is with your diet. You treat it as serious as you treat your health wealth relationships because this is your own choice and you need to deepen your why so that you can live the entire process and you can see that you're going through all these tough weeks as well. And
Yeah.
there is something which I specifically do in my professional experience, which I would also recommend anybody who's watching this, anybody who's listening to this to apply. At the Ketorets method, because I've done the methodology and I've tried to make people understand in basics. I have the first phase called as vital shift phase. What is the vital shift phase? It is for 21 days where you vitally shift into ketosis. No matter people get into ketosis within 3 to 4 days, but it takes 21 days for you to start building a habit and it takes 66 days for you to confirm that this is habit now. So in the first initial phase, you start meal prepping, you start managing your groceries, you start removing things from your pantry, you start making wiser choices, you start changing your identity, and you start deepening your why. If you do that, you are never going to give up. And it's not just about keto. After keto, also, when you move to a low carb diet, you can't change your identity. You can't be that old person who went to Krispy Kreme to get 50% off on donuts.
No,
Hmm,
it's such a strange thing that no matter, I've had my own journey with weight loss. I used to be like
hmm,
over 100 kilos myself,
hmm,
and then I've come down to 54, which was my least, and then I've gone up again to
hmm,
72 and then 66. It's been over the last, I think, 18, 19 years has been a whole seesaw journey. And then, I always come back. Somewhere I always get back on track. So, if you look at weight loss as one road towards a destination of
hmm,
sustainability, I always tend to come back to that path. And what takes me off that path is this constant, oh, just this one time, or oh, life is too short.
hmm,
It's just this one, detour, and you just by mistake take it, and that's it, and you just kid off the path.
hmm.
I have realized having friends or a support system or a community or a professional guidance helps a lot. Is that something you also realize with the community at Ketoret?
For some people, yes. For some people, it is not. There are certain people who don't want somebody to make them accountable. They're themselves there. There are people who are 90% being there. I do not. If I talk about my current following on Instagram, which is at 38.4K, I have 1,200 people. Look at the percentage of people who work with me professionally, and look at the percentage of people who want to just maybe, let's say, consume content because they're 90% there. A lot of us are absolutely perfect. We're doing things right. We may not need to be on ketosis. We may not need to start complicating our life. Some of us just do it because we are fixing things which are not broken. Now, when you say about your own personal journey, I lost 117 kgs. I lost 40 plus kgs. I started stabilizing myself. I started adapting to ketosis. Today, I have a serious problem. When my father comes to my own house, I have to order atta for him. I don't have it at home. Yeah. And that's something which I have to figure out because I don't have my pantry which has any carbohydrate as specific. You don't have to be so extreme as such. Uh, in a larger scheme of things, we are focusing on the outcome, which is weight loss. We are not focusing on the journey. We are not focusing on the path which you're taking, where you are right now. And it's all about true assessment. But some people definitely need professional guidance. So
Yeah.
I was brushing my teeth and I was supposed to change the tap, right?
Yeah.
Can I change it myself? No, I'll call the plumber. I have no clue how to change that tap. I can try my best. I will be successful, but I know one thing: my house would be a swimming pool. Similarly, you don't fix your ACs, you don't fix your car, you don't fix your health by just taking and popping medications. You do that in India because you get a antibiotic at any of the medical stores. Go to the West, you don't find it. You find somebody to at least write a prescription for you, right? We've been fighting throughout to make these kind of drugs under certain schedules. Similarly, in terms of diet, there have been questions about if this is doable, if this is fine enough. And I have a very strong point to make. When you meet a professional, when you talk to a professional, do not just look at the degrees and the certificates and everything else. They are just a 3-month course. You spend money and you get that course. Okay. You do a degree, which is like a BSc, MSc. Yeah, you study for that. It's the practical application which you need. Coaching is never ever about calories and macros and calculations. It is all about somebody who empathizes and sympathizes with you, who understands your challenges, and who literally speaks the next thing which is between the lines. So, certain people need professional coaching, certain people that do not. There is a very simple litmus test which I would want you to ask 3 questions. Whenever you give up, why do you give up? Is it because of peer pressure? Is it because of circumstantial problems and everything? How much do you guilt trip when you give up? Second thing. And the third thing is, what do you do after you guilt tripping? If all three of them have an answer that you give up because of peer pressure, you give up and you guilt trip like never ending and everything, and you simply give up on everything. And then after that, you just simply leave your diet, you need professional coaching because humans make mistakes. We all make mistakes, right? So if you give up, but you guilt trip, however, you're back on the same routine the next day. You don't need somebody to keep you accountable. You're yourself accountable, right? And that way, professional expertise 100% helps for people, those who have this litmus test, which I've kept it as simple as possible. And for some people, it is not even necessary because they would also be there itself. They would just take it for an extra addition and expertise, and they should be very cautious of not comparing themselves to the professional you're speaking to. I have been on calls where somebody is like, "Uh, it feels like an interview. I'm taking an interview to of anybody, right?" And you're like, yeah, yeah, it's okay. I know you know about nutrition, no problem at all. I'm not testing your knowledge. I am trying to understand your psyche, where you are. So that's something which is very important for people who are 90% there. Do not test your knowledge with everybody. You can't gain everything in your life. You can't learn everything in your life. You can't be an engineer, doctor, lawyer, everything together, right? But at the same time, if you feel that, okay, yes, you are able to make mistakes, acknowledge them, and make corrective actions, you may not need professional experience. You may not need professional guidance. But if you're a person who's been giving up and you're guilt tripping, you definitely need it.
Rahul, I have one last thing I'm super curious about. Um, See, for me, carbs, sugars, there's a certain allure about them. It's the way, you're just going through Instagram and suddenly an advertisement will come and they're breaking a tiny chocolate open and it's oozing out. Or if you're going to meet somebody, and they'd be like, oh, come over for, cake and tea. A cake and tea. I just need to hear that and it just conjures up this, really nice image in my head, which could be equally nice without the cake and tea, but you just associate it with friends, socializing. So much of our lives is just built around food, and that food is carbs and sugar. You've been in ketosis for what? You've been doing it for 7 years.
Yes.
How are you resisting this?
I plan my carb refeed days. I don't have to resist it. I meet people. I have a very good social life. I take 35 flights a year. I keep traveling.
Right.
In my case, it's very biased. I just have to give my visiting card to them and they do not even offer me anything. Yeah. I'm that cheap guest at home.
The trick then.
I'm that cheap guest at home who's just sipping on water. However, this dates back to 1700s. In 1700s, if you read a bit about history, industrial revolution was all over because we were also suffering from a lot of issues as a planet. We had droughts, we had food shortage, we had people dying because of X number of diseases. So the population was growing, but at the same time, industrialization came into place. And that's where the terms lunch and dinner were coined. There is no meaning of lunch in Hindi. And I have tried to ask a lot of people that what is the meaning of this? Why do you not call it lunching or lunched? Why do you not have, why is it a proper noun? Why is it not something which has a continuous tense? There is also, every city has its south. So be it South Delhi, be it South Bombay, be it South Dubai, which I also work in. People have their new notions. They call it supper, buffet, brunch,
Brunch.
Becky. New names have come into the market, right?
Yeah.
They're all reasons for you to eat. Humans are very cute. They find reasons to eat. It's a festival. I'll feed you some sweets. Nice. Blood sugar high. Thank you. You come home. Oh, you're deprived. Why would we offer people tea and cakes when they're coming home? Because earlier there was no, you didn't have an option of just booking a cab, right? You didn't have an option of just driving around. You would walk around and you would come home. Somebody would offer you a glass of water, would give you something like an energy drink to, make you feel better. There was food shortage. So they would say that you have come home, so please take some food, have something, so that don't suffer from, the problems. Today, I have 5 applications to order food from. I'm spoiled by them. I have reasons to eat it. At any given point of time, I go to a place, there are restaurants and bars in which they say all day dining. I call it all day munching, all day eating. We are like a cow grazing every day, all day. Beautiful. So, how do I control this? How do I look at this? It's not about eating less, it's about eating less frequently. If I'm stepping out for dinner to meet somebody, I would eat before I leave. I don't want to risk it. Even if it is a dinner at a keto restaurant, or even if it is at my favorite place and the person has made some certain food for me, I know that's going to be overeating, but I will eat and go, because eating before I leave simply kills my hunger, and hunger and temptations are two bad friends. Yeah. The last time they met you, you went for XL or double exercises eventually because you started eating left, right, center. The other thing is, for socializing, you acknowledge anybody and everybody. I recently got married and I was with my extended family members. They were offering, please, a bite to Lilo, take something, try it. We have got it for you. I used to take it and I used to keep it. I used to be like, I'm here to not to eat. I'm sorry, I would not be able to. And I used to plead. I used to go on and on, on and on. And I have a script ready for that, which I give to my Ketorets members, which starts with, for example, you offer me a sweet, and I'm like, no, I just had in the morning. I had, 3 chole bhatures in the morning with a lot of butter. I was so happy. After that, when I was coming, I was just finishing a samosa. I am so full right now. I would just take that paneer piece for a bit. Is it okay if I just eat that today? Sorry. I'll come the next time. Next time you do one thing. Next time you make kheer for me. Next time you make kadi chawal for me. And next time you make rajma chawal for me. You make a conversation out of that.
Yes.
And there's a very simple trick which you can do when you're sitting. So most of us, we have the wedding season coming up. You're at a wedding. You need to take that chapati. You need to take some rice and everything in your plate. Mix it together with dal. Please stop thinking that you're saving food. This buffet will go to a waste for sure.
And you always mix your dal and put it up.
So you not eating right now will not help people in somewhere in Africa to, take care of their hunger problems, or in India to, feed somebody. You're doing
Right.
nothing by doing this. Take the dal chawal, take that roti, break that roti into half, cover the dal chawal. Cover the dal chawal, keep it on the side. You have other things around. If you have chicken there, chicken tikka, paneer tikka, fish tikka, these are low carb options without coated. They're keto as well. You eat that, and even if you're sitting on a table and somebody says, and you took a bite of rice, don't kill yourself. A bite of rice will not get you out of ketosis, but don't try to finish that entire portion. If they're trying to serve it to you, your plate should be so filled that they don't have space to serve you. You should be eating so slow. And if they say, oh, अच्छा खाना पसंद नहीं आया, नहीं पसंद आया, तभी तो आराम से खा रहे हैं. So this is the entire script of anybody managing their social events, that they need to acknowledge the emotion, and they need to also keep their diet and routine in check. Now, the biggest mistake which we do is that you're sitting in front of 10 people. It's a social event. Imagine yourself there.
Yeah.
And you say, I'm on keto. Actually, inviting people to, now discuss your diet.
Yeah.
Discuss your diet, not just judge you. Discuss your diet. Your diet has become the new discussion, despite everything in life has gone to, maybe, let's say, everything has gone off the track. Your diet is going to be the new point of discussion. You are in the limelight. You have become a hero of this. You are now going to face serious problems because this is where the perspective is that, for example, Rahul Kamra tells somebody that I'm on ketogenic diet. This is going to be an entire documentary which is directed by Rahul Kamra, started by him. He's only starring into it. He's the villain. He's the hero. And Rahul Kamra is marrying Rahul Kamra because he's spoken about keto. Another thing, particularly in our culture, not only just in Asia, not only just in India, everybody loves giving advice over career, relationships, and diet as well. Okay. And people do that with goodwill and they want good for you. Take it in a, you know, positive aspect, but don't just apply everything too seriously. Don't take everybody super seriously because that, the other person who's giving you a piece of advice may not be in their best shape and they may just want to give you some more inputs which are not even necessary for you.
Yeah, no, I remember this video by Bas Luhrmann where he said advice is just a form of nostalgia that's been repapered and painted over and made to look nice.
Hmm.
So yeah, you can take it with a pinch of salt. I am so surprised by the way this conversation has happened because I really thought this was going to be a do's and don'ts, very straight keto police conversation. But
Hmm.
this has
Hmm.
actually been
I have no voice to that. I can be that keto police as well. But then there is enough information for people to learn about keto as of today. There is less information for them to understand their mindset, which is very important to clear out.
and to be sustainable. I think that
Hmm.
that was for me
Hmm.
that's really made a difference. When I'm now thinking about keto, it feels like you've developed an art of doing the keto diet because it's much more than just what you're eating and what you're not eating. And I'm really glad we had this conversation. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you. If you've enjoyed this episode, or if you'd like to hear more about a certain health topic, you can write to us. We're there at pods@indiatoday.com, or you can message us on 8588966996. We're also there on every social media channel, so feel free to reach out.